Hello, everyone. I all hope you had a very, very wonderful day and a very, very blessed day and a very, very great evening and an afternoon as well. Guys, as you can see, the sky is quietly beautiful today. Not exactly colder than it was yesterday, than ever exactly before as well. So it's quietly sunny and also hot. You know that it's quietly global warming and it's climate change. Climate change is really quietly here. So just exactly stay safe and stay happy. Anyway, guys, I'm very grateful for your support in viewing and watching my episodes, which means gratefully a lot to me, completely a lot to me. So I'm very thankful for you guys, completely thankful for you guys. So may God bless you all so much. And also, guys, never give up on your dreams, no matter the circumstances, and keep pushing and keep trying, no matter how hard it is. Never stop believing in yourself, just like I'm doing as well. So keep going, guys. Keep going. You got this, guys. So on today's episode, we're here to speak about a powerful alien empire known as the Hovc Core, which has been which has been actively around for many centuries and for many millennia. It's an alien race of conquerors who exactly been conquering worlds and civilization for many centuries and for many years. They even secretly partnered up with they even secretly aligned themselves with the court of nature in order for them to exactly aid them, in order for them to exactly aid them with their respective conquest to conquering planet Earth and the rest of the known worlds and the rest of the known universes and the sacred universe in the process in order to further their own goals and their own plans as well. So let's get to it. In early history, the Hovc Core Empire began conquering many more worlds and many more civilizations than ever before. They wreaked enormous amount of a rampage which gone unchecked throughout the sacred universe's history, which forced the Four Nation Hunters and the Light Nation Hunters and the Light Hunters in order to stop the advance from advancing through other worlds, from conquering other vast worlds and known worlds throughout the sacred universe in the process. By doing so, the Four Nation Hunters and the Night Hunters exactly pursued and stopped the Hovc Core Empire from conquering numerous worlds and from from conquering, excuse me, from conquering numerous worlds and numerous planets throughout the known universe and throughout the rest of sacred history as well. They did so exactly at a very terrible cost, which exactly forced the Havikan core empire to exactly form an impenetrable, fragile truce with the Four Nation Hunters and with the Light Hunters. During at that time, Lord Havik, who is the founder and leader of the Havikan core, exactly was forced to switch tactics when the truce came at the great cost of exactly conquering worlds and many planets. And at the time, the Shadow Empire was also competing against the Havikan core for sole dominant to becoming the sole dominant powerful force empire in sacred history, in the sacred world's sacred history, that could change the war and its fate, forever, meaning completely forever. The balance of power will be shifting radically at the great cost and at the great cost of many worlds and many more civilization falling under the control of the enemy. The Four Nation Hunters and the Light Nation Hunters exactly gave the Havikan Core ambassador and also the Havikan Core top enforcer and the Havikan Core delegation the terms of the truce that they can't exactly conquer more worlds and more planets unless if they are quietly able to exactly make sure that their agents are well dispatched on those worlds. If the Shadow Empire has conquered more worlds and many more vast planets, the Havikan Core will be forced to take down the Shadow Empire. In return, more worlds and more civilizations will secretly fall under their control. The Havikan Core ambassador exactly accepted the terms of the truce, as well as the top enforcer of the Havikan Core Empire, and as well as the scientists, which they reported back to Lord Havik, telling him that the Four Nation Hunters and the Light Hunters exactly told them to accept the terms of the truce. Lord Harvick became very ambitious and very ruthless, realizing that the truce is such a very fragile thing, which will not exactly keep his empire down forever or for many years. He decided to dispatch his agents across the galaxy and across sending them across the fringes of the known universe and across the fringes of the sacred universe in a process for them to exactly scouting and exactly searching for more worlds and more planets to exactly conquer and place them under their sole control by any means necessary. During and during at that time, the Havikan core agents and scouts have already quietly placed their grip on other worlds and numerous planets and numerous civilizations able to turning worlds and planets against each other in order for them to benefit from the worlds exactly fighting against each other, with the supernatural community and the alien community and the superhuman community exactly fighting up against each other, able to turn its backs against on each other. The Harvey and Co. whatever will be able to benefit from the conflict of the other supernatural and alien and superhuman communities quietly fighting up against each other and quietly waging war up against each other, with the conflict which could exactly able to benefit him. Lord Harvick discovered that this could be the perfect plan and the perfect timing for the Hobbiton Court to make sure that its grip and its also tightening grip can also conquer many worlds and many vast civilizations. He dispatched an armada of warships and battle cruisers to go across the space, across throughout space, in order for them to demonstrate, in order for him to demonstrate his power and his capacity and his worth throughout the entire known universe and the rest of sacred existence in the process. By doing so, exactly, Lord Harvick and his agents and his forces began to become more powerful and more dangerous, and his empire began to become more powerful and more dangerous and very, very, very ambitious to conquering more worlds and many more planets. With his fleet quietly still heading straightly downwards into the solar system, the Four Nation Hunters and the rest of the Light Hunters wanted to make sure that the Harvick and Core Empire would remain still and would remain to agree to the terms of the fragile truce. But seeing that they couldn't exactly not to do so, that the Four Nation Hunters and the Light Hunters decided to go on an all out war in order to stop the Harvick and Core Empire fleet and warships and modern battle cruisers from waging an all out war with humanity, which they were successfully able to do so by preventing the war from spiraling out of control and from being exposed to the realm of humanity. And they were successfully able to do so. They neutralized the enemy's fleets and battle cruisers, and they were able to successfully take them down, and ultimately sending them straightly into sending the operatives and the captive agents straightly into the astral prison. Lord Harvick realizes that it's time that he switch his tactics and his advanced tactics in order to make sure that his empire remains quietly in power and in control of the galaxy and of the universe. He decided to do so in order for him to do so exactly. He was forced to switch in tactics more often, and he created a new strategy way and a new very, very powerful strategy and a very legal and became more strategic and very, very, very quietly capable of altering his entire fleet's commandable center with one fell swoop. Over the years, the Hobbiton Co. remained, and the Hobbiton Co. Empire remained quietly low and continue to grow its empire and continue to mobilizing its forces. During at that time, within the early years of 2024, they made a powerful, formidable alliance with another ancient secret society of supervillains known as a Court of Nature. With the Court of Nature's resources and with the Hobbiton Co. resources all combined, they could exactly help each other conquer humanity and rule humanity and the rest of the galaxy in one fell swoop, which will be able to successfully benefit for them in many ways. Lord Harvick dispatches agents and his agents in order to act in his place, as his emissaries, and as well as his emissaries to take his rightful place to represent him in the first delegation of the fleet with the Court of Nature when Lord Jackson Knight exactly on the 1st of February met up when the ambassador of the Hobbiton Co. met up with Lord Jackson Knight, the founder and leader of the Court of Nature, agreed to the terms of the deal and also to the terms of a partnership that will exactly help him conquer Earth and the rest of humanity and the rest of the known universe in a process which could exactly able to benefit them. The ambassador of the Hobbiton Co. became very pleased and very, very quietly, unfortunately, happy as well. On the 10th of January, the Court of Nature continued to supplying the Hobbiton Co. Empire with more experiments and with more supernaturals for them to study and more aliens and more superhumans for them to study in order to exploit their superpowers and their genetic DNA, what makes them exactly tick and to unlock their secrets of their powers and their ability. And the Hobbiton Co. Empire was very reluctantly pleased and very reluctantly happy. But unfortunately, the Universal heroes exactly stormed and raided the entire ship and stormed and raided the entire battleship, the entire battle cruiser ship, and able to exactly rescue the captive adapters and able to exactly send them back to their homeworlds. In doing so, they were able to inform the intergalactic coalition, stated that the new enemy and the new adversary is known as a Hobbit Corps, which is quietly growing in numbers and mobilizing its forces. On the 15th of January, the ambassador of the Hobbiton Core world exactly arrived on Sacred City to tell the Phoenician hunters that the rest of the sacred universe and the rest of the sacred worlds are now under the custody and control over the Hobbiton Core. The Phoenician Hunter Intergalactic Council members exactly refused to put the entire sacred universe and the sacred world under the control of the Hobbiton Core, which those are the terms that they were successfully able to agree with at that time exactly as well. The ambassador of the Hobbiton Corps was like to be pleased and very quietly happy and very, very quietly, frankly pleased with himself and completely very happy. During at that time and at that date, the ambassador of the Hobbiton Corps exactly remained at the command ship of the Hobbiton Corps Empire in order to monitor the activities of space and monitoring the Universal Heroes activity in trying to disable and cripple the Shadow Empire and also its power and control over the known universe and over the sacred universe in the process, which they were successfully able to exactly do so during at that time of the process as well. On the 1st of February, when an alien warlord known as Golden Boy was coming with an army of battle cruisers and warships and armadas headed straightly to planet Earth for a mission of destruction. The Hobbiton Corps ambassador and the rest of the delegation were forced to exactly take matters into their own hands to protect an investment and they control over the rest of the control of the rest of the known universe and of the sacred universe by fighting against their greatest competitor and against their greatest enemy, which is Golden Boy, who is more powerful and a more deadly tyrant and a very powerful warlord who is more eager to conquer more worlds in order to exactly expand his dominion and his control over the rest of the galaxy and over the rest of the sacred universe. He is nothing but a disease and a walking, spreading disease across sacred space, who's willing to destroy more worlds and more planets in order to fuel his own goal and his ambition. The Hobbiton Corps ambassador knows very well that Golden Boy will not agree to the terms of bargaining or making deals or anything else like that. So they dispatched a fleet of battle cruisers and warships as much as the Intergalactic Coalition did the same, and the Universal Heroes entered the heart of Golden Boy's mothership, and they were successfully able to taking him down. The Hobbiton Corps battleships and warships were heavily decimated, and they lost many warships and battle cruisers at the battle, and also the Intergalactic Coalition also lost many battle warships and battle cruisers in the process in order to protecting humanity and planet Earth from a dangerous, sinister threat as well. At that time, the ambassador of the Hobbiton Corps became impressed that they successfully gained control of the mothership that Golden Boy was controlling, and that Golden Boy has become a prisoner to the Hobbiton Corps as well. On the 2nd of February, the Hobbiton Corps ambassador was able to exactly tell the scientists that the mothership is now under the jurisdiction and under the sole control of the Hobbiton Corps, meaning that all plans could exactly work well for their master and leader, known as Lord Hobbiton, and that the Court of Nature has delivered its end of its bargain by supplying them with more resources and more powerful resources as quietly as they know themselves to be their partner. And the Hobbiton Corps was heavily suggestively pleased at the Hobbiton Corps ambassador and the scientist ambassador of the Hobbiton Corps continue to discuss their recent updates on the recent success of their missions and all their plans in order to further their plans of controlling the rest of Sacred Society and removing the United Heroes and the Universal Heroes and the Universal Space Defending Heroes and the Universal Space Heroes and the Universal Monster Heroes and the Intergalactic Coalition out of the way permanently. On the 6th of February, the top enforcer of the Hobbiton Corps was fighting up against Golden Boy on the mothership of his ship. At that time, Golden Boy was trying to escape, as well as the members of the Universal Heroes who were quietly put in stasis and who were quietly rescued by a group of other alien and Shadow Empire teenagers, and that were quietly that were quietly recruited by another member of the Universal Heroes in order to exactly rescue them. The topping force of the Harbican Corps fought up against Golden Boy, tried to take him down, which he successfully able to won, which successfully he triumphed, and he successfully able to won, and exactly he successfully able to neutralize the threat and put him back on his stasis pod, where he remained frozen for quite some time. But he was quietly displeased with the development that his captives and his hostages have successfully escaped on the mothership. That Golden Boy has on the mothership stasis pods of the prison, that they successfully able to escape as well. On the on the 10th of February, the ambassador of the Hobbiton Corps exactly told the rest of Sacred Society that the Hobbiton Corps is in control of everything else, and everything else is quietly under the control of the Hobbiton Corps, and that the rest of the sacred universe will exactly fall to the control of the new Hobbiton Corps empire. But the Intergalactic Coalition ambassador exactly told the Hobbiton Corps that they presented new evidence, stated that the Hobbiton Corps, a race of conquerors, that they all they wanted to do is conquer the sacred universe and rule humanity with an iron fist, which exactly do so exposed their lies, and the Universal Heroes exactly stormed in with the rest of their forces and with the rest of their troops. And the Hobbiton Corps ambassador told Newborn that he also has surprises on his sleeve, on his agents and his soldiers of the Hobbiton Corps rather than a topping force. Say that this is a battle that could exactly determine the fate of humanity. Both sides has exactly fought into a heavy battle, as well as the agents and operatives of the Court of Nature exactly assisted the Hobbiton Corps ambassador and the top enforcer. Both sides continued to fight until they were highly captive, until they were highly put into custody, and the Universal Heroes were quietly victorious, very victorious. So they captured several enemies and key foes as well. The Hobbiton Corps ambassador and the top enforcer escaped to the battleship, to the battle cruiser, in order to exactly discuss the recent setbacks, telling them that they have to destroy the rest of the other known planets of the sacred universe and of the sacred world effective immediately, which this is able to do so. They created huge canyons of planetary destruction that are capable of destroying planets and worlds and civilization. On the 11th of February, the Hobbiton Corps staged simultaneous attacks on different worlds and different planets. The Universal Heroes and the United Heroes were forced to exactly split up their resources with the Intergalactic Coalition in order to save worlds and planets before they were completely destroyed by the planet killers, which they were able to successfully able to do so, but at a terrible cost. The other worlds were quietly destroyed, and the other members of the Intergalactic Coalition were quietly didn't survive saving the sacred world and the sacred universe in the process. The Hobbiton Corps ambassador and the top enforcer continued to fight up against the Universal Earth heroes who raided against a spaceship, who raided against a battleship cruiser, and the Intergalactic Coalition 4-Nation Hunter told the Hobbiton Corps ambassador to go back to where exactly they come from and tell their master and leader that conquering other worlds and other civilization will not exactly come to pass and will not exactly able to bear fruit. The ambassador of the Hobbiton Corps told the 4-Nation Hunter Intergalactic Coalition Counselor that the war is far from over, that it's exactly about to begin. He has no idea exactly what's actually coming, completely on what's actually coming. The Hobbiton Corps Empire and its entire battle cruisers and warships and armadas exactly left the inner system of the sacred universe and exactly went back to its central command and headquarters, where the other conquered worlds and planets and civilization are at the sole control of the Hobbiton Corps Lord and Master known as Lord Hovc, which is at central command, which is called Planet Hovc, which is on a very, 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 very far fringes of the sacred universe, meaning it's very far away, with many moons and many worlds that are literally completely slaved and conquered and ruled by Lord Hovc. That is his central headquarters and command, with many more battleships and battle cruisers and warships and warships and armadas at his beck and call, thousands of them and many millions of them. On the 12th of February, the ambassador of the Hovc court teleported straightly to the throne room in order to tell Lord Hovc that they plans in conquering the rest of sacred existence and the rest of the sacred universe exactly successfully unable to succeed. They were unable to succeed in conquering many worlds and many planets and placing them under their sole control, which the universal heroes and the intergalactic coalition and the united heroes have thought of the operation, and as well as the other plans in conquering humanity and in saving humanity in the process. Lord Hovc wasn't quietly disappointed or quietly angry. In a matter of fact, he was quietly pleased as he told the ambassador of the Hovc Corps that the Code of Nature supplied them with more resources in return that will continue supplying the Code of Nature with more powerful destructive technology. That their main focus is for them to remain low and to compete against the Shadow Empire to make sure that it's crippled and quietly heavily disarmed by any means necessary. And the ambassador of the Hovc Corps was very, very pleased and very happy as he bowed down to his lord and master at the throne room of the Hovc Corps, at the throne room of the Hovc Corps planet, which is quietly a big Tyrannus castle that is quietly ruled and led by Lord Hovc. During those years, Lord Hovc and the rest of his empire remained low, and they continue to remain low as they continue observing the war between good and evil, seeing the Shadow Empire falling and being descending into chaos and into further darkness than ever before, seeing the original Lord of Magic being dead, which created a huge power vacuum unlike any other before, forcing him, the Shadow Empire Warlord Commander, to successfully forming secretive alliances with a group of ancient powerful supervillains such as the Order of the Five, the Order of the Six, the Order of the Seven, the Unholy Alliance, the Founders, the Galactic, the Unholy Alliance, the Founders, the Galactic as well, and the Sacred Circle, and the Sacred Circle as well, and supplying them with powerful, dangerous, powerful technology as part of the deal and part of the agreement. On the 1st of April, Lord Hovc Co. received an unexpected visitor from the Shadow Empire Warlord Commanders, stating to them that it'll help them exactly conquer more worlds and more planets and place them solely under the sole control of the Hovc Corps, and they'll continue supplying them with more powerful and destructive technology as part of their deal. Lord Hovc was very quietly impressed and very quietly pleased and very quietly happy that everything else is going back on track and that the Shadow Empire is losing its reputation and that the Hovc Corps Empire will soon rise to the fearsome feast of its reputation at the back of the Shadow Empire losing its reputation at this date. Lord Hovc continued to exactly remaining at the throne room, where one of his warlords and commanders exactly reported to him on the 2nd of April, stating that the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders have exactly sworn allegiance and loyalty to the new Lord of Magic, who's quietly wreaking havoc and recruiting powerful criminals and agents such as the Dark Sisters, the Dark Brother, the Dark Energy, and also the Inception, recruiting powerful villains and also exactly to utilize their resources for his ultimate goal and reforming his own empire, also forming his own new Shadow Empire and his new ancient secret society of supervillains known as the Order of Power. Lord Hovc wasn't quietly disturbed over the new Lord of Magic and learning that the Universal Prince and the Star Prince have formed a powerful secretive alliance that now taking down, and now the Shadow Empire and also the Star Empire will be looking out for all out war for sole control over the sacred universe and over the Star Universe, which Lord Hovc realized he can benefit with the downfall of the Shadow Empire, and with the Star Empire taking over the sacred universe, he could exactly become the sole ruler of the cosmos if he can exactly remove Lord Shadow Jack and Lord Winter King and Lord Justin and Lord Ra out of the way, and Dark Master out of the way completely, by effectively removing them out of the way completely, his top competitors and the new Lord of Magic and the new Universal Prince. During at that time, he continued to exactly monitoring the war, able to exactly learn more about the war and about the battles and everything else as he continues to successfully able to do so. On the 1st of May, Lord Hovc Co. was approached by Lord Norton Knight Jackson, who exactly told him that the Code of Nature will always be at the service of the Hovc Co. and that the partnership exactly still holds purpose in order for them to further their own goals. He told Lord Hovc that Lord Clay's greatest misdeeds that Lord Clay's greatest misdeeds, the new protege of the new Lord Magic, failed with his mission and his assignment, which created chaos throughout the sacred world and throughout the sacred universe, unable to exactly relocate him, or exactly unable to relocate him with his operation, and with Lord Boy, who is after all the new protege of the new Lord Magic and a founder and a leader of his dark and powerful magical empire that also wants to rule the sacred universe and also the known worlds of the known universe as well. In the process, discovering that their enemies are becoming more powerful and becoming more ruthless and more impatient, Lord Harvick exactly told Lord Jackson that the resources of the Harvick core are at the disposal of the court of nature, and they'll continue to remain so. And Lord Jackson was quietly proud that the Notian Empire will also be at the assistance of the Harvick core empire, that they'll continue exactly assisting each other and helping each other on their various respective conquests, in order for them to aid on their respective conquests in ruling humanity and enslaving the rest of the sacred world and of the sacred universe in that process. And Lord Harvick Cole was very reluctantly pleased and very gratefully happy. On the 10th of April, Lord Harvick Cole was exactly remaining at the throne room as a scientist exactly told him that the battleships and warships and the entire armada is quietly growing in numbers and quietly escalating, that conquering more island volcano worlds and more island volcano territory worlds and planets is exactly able to tighten a grip on many worlds and many more planets. And Lord Harvick was very successfully pleased that he can finally tighten his grip on those worlds and those colony worlds, those colonized worlds and those colonized civilizations, that the Notian Empire has managed to secretly release them under the sole control, that have been liberated from the intergalactic coalition, that are quietly liberated from the sacred circle, which is another ancient powerful secret society founded by Lord Ra, and able to secretly reconquer them and place them under the sole control over the Harvick core empire, which indirectly the Court of Nature helped the Harvick core reclaim and reconquer those colonized worlds and planets and civilization, in return for them to exactly searching for a powerful ancient threat and a powerful foe that's remained hidden and buried and trapped and banished through another powerful dark dimension, which Lord Harvick core realizes that the Fallen could become the most powerful weapon in his mission and his goal to control and enslave the rest of humanity and the rest of the sacred universe. In the process, the chaos he could bring could exactly benefit him in many, many ways and in numerous ways. And Lord Harvick was very successfully pleased and very, very gratefully happy with this development, as in completely very happy. On the 1st of June, Lord Harvick exactly spoke with the ambassador of the Harvick core, stated that all the other worlds and all the other civilization are under the control of the Harvick core, and everything else in the search for the Fallen will continue to go on as much as it can, in order to exactly for him to wreak havoc and continue to using his dark empire to expanding and tightening his grip over the sacred universe and over the sacred world, which his dark empire from the dark universe will continue to wreaking havoc on a greater scale and creating more chaos and more turmoil than ever before. And Harvick was quietly pleased and very happy with this development, stated that everything is going according to plan. He could exactly foil the plans of the Universal Prince and of the Star Prince and of Red Bolt and the Dark Order and who is the current leader of the Shadow Empire at this stage, and who can exactly cripple the Shadow Empire's power and the Star Empire's power in one fell swoop, and also cripple the new Lord of Magic's organization and new empire in a matter of minutes and in one fell swoop. Lord Harvick realizes that now it's time for his empire to exactly not take action yet, but to dispatch his agents and his operatives to wreak havoc among other worlds and among other planets, in order to hunt down for this ancient powerful foe and for this ancient powerful villain and foe, and to open the portals of the dark universe so his empire can once again rule and conquer and thrust chaos into the magic worlds and into the magic universe and into the sacred world and into the sacred universe in the process, so that he can finally benefit and become the sole ruler and dominant ruler over the cosmos. And the ambassador of the Harvick core was very reluctantly pleased that the search will continue to persistently to go on, and that they'll continue successfully able to do so, and to know more about where the Fallen is exactly trapped and banished where, by any means necessary. And Lord Harvick was very pleased and very happy that everything else is going according to plan, the way it's intended to be. The Harvick core empire, guys, is a very powerful and formidable empire that is quietly founded and led by Lord Harvick, which by any means necessary is a very dangerous and powerful empire, which secretly aligned itself with another secret society of supervillains known as the Court of Nature, with the goal for them to conquer and rule the known universe and the known worlds and the sacred universe and the sacred worlds throughout sacred history for many years and for many centuries. The Havikan core empire has altered sacred history for its own nefarious, sinister purpose and sinister plans in order for them to become the dominant and most powerful empire throughout sacred history, for them to remain the most powerful empire ever known. They've been competing against the Shadow Empire for many centuries and for many, many years, realizing that the original Little Magic and Lord Havoc, who were quietly competing against each other, the original Little Magic beat Lord Havoc and Core with these beat beated him at his own game and became the most powerful lord and leader of the Shadow Empire. Now with the original death of the original Little Magic and the new Little Magic rising from the shadows and with these progeny and with these offsprings taking over his empire and his secret society, Lord Havoc realizes that he exactly has to do better than that in order to conquer many more worlds and many civilizations. But despite that, Lord Havoc has conquered many more worlds and many more civilizations and placed them under his sole control, made those conquered worlds and those civilizations into his central command and central headquarters where he created a giant castle that exactly represents how he can call empire's reign and leadership, and a statue of him and his forces and his ancestors across the cities of the conquered worlds and of the conquered colony cities that he's managed to conquer and place under his sole control. He has an entire armada of warships, battle cruisers, airships, air balloons at his disposal. Thousands of armadas and battle cruisers at his disposal. He's a powerful, ruthless, and cruel leader of the Hobbiton Corps, and he has powerful agents and powerful delegation, members, the top enforcer, the ambassador, the scientists, the druids, the witches, the faithful, at his beck and call, able to exactly serve him, granting him more power and more wisdom. And he's willing to wage war on other worlds and other sacred nations, and worlds and planets in order to conquer them and enslave them and place them under the sole control of the Hobbiton Corps, which they exactly made a fragile truce with the Four Nation Hunters and with the Light Hunters in order for them to exactly stop conquering those worlds. But that truce is exactly fragile, guys, and that truce might exactly break soon. The terms of the truce were that the Hobbiton Corps cannot exactly keep conquering more worlds and more planets as long as the Four Nation Hunters and the Light Hunters have exactly continued to protect those worlds, since the Shadow Empire has conquered many vast worlds and many vast civilizations. To doing so, the Shadow Empire has to be stopped and it has to be eliminated and has to be crippled of its power and also of its central source, which the terms of the truce were that. But since that Lord Havoc became ambitious and became very, very impatient, he decided that the Hobbiton Corps has to break the truce, which they successfully did. They broke the truce and exactly continued conquering many more known worlds and many more known civilizations and known planets throughout the known universe and throughout the sacred universe in the process, in order to grow and expanding his empire and his dominion across the galaxy and across the sacred universe in the process, to conquering the golden universe, Mixel universe, robotics universe, over universe, dark universe, sacred universe, star universe as well, and the dark dimensions and the light universe in the process, to conquering those universes and place them under his sole control. But the Harvikan core empire is one of the most powerful empire that is quietly independent and doesn't quietly depend on shadow energy or on light energy. It quietly depends on its natural resources and power. They've conquered many worlds known as island volcano worlds and island worlds and island civilizations, where they place cities and statues, dying monument of the ancestors dying monuments of the ancestors and also the fallen who's an ancient powerful ancient villain who's exactly been banished and exactly remained banished throughout the dark dimension for many years and for many centuries. Despite that, Lord Havoc is very ambitious, very powerful. He grew fond of the fallen. He viewed him as his brother and as his operative, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to help him reclaim his birthright and his empire. He's to rule his dark empire and also to expand his dark empire, as long as that exactly furthers his plan and his goal. He even partnered up with a group of powerful supervillains. The Hobbiton Corps partnered up with a group of powerful supervillains known as the Court of Nature, which will exactly help them, which will exactly aid each other on the respective conquest to ruling humanity and the sacred universe and the sacred world in the process to further their own goals and their own plans as well. Despite this, the Hobbit Core is a powerful empire, very great, strong, and invincible and indestructible empire. In the early history, they've conquered thousands and many worlds throughout the known universe and throughout the rest of sacred history, altering sacred history's fate and also its storytelling. But the Four Nation Hunters and the Light Hunters stopped and prevented them with the help of the Intergalactic Coalition that were successfully able to do so, and with the help of the new Forged Alliance, and with the help of the Universal Heroes as well. But they realized that the Hobbit Core will not exactly stop its conquest or its mission or anything else like that. It'll continue to do so. But the biggest source and the biggest threat of the Hobbit Core and the biggest source and the biggest threat of the Hobbit Core is its leader, Lord Hovc, and its operatives. They are the greatest threats that the sacred world and the sacred universe and the known universe have been facing for many centuries and for many years. They are very ambitious and very powerful individuals who are willing to do whatever it takes to remain in power and in control over the known universe and over the sacred universe in the process of their plans. Well, guys, that's it for today's episode. I all hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I all hope you have a wonderful, blessed evening and an afternoon. I will exactly see you tomorrow, and God bless you all. Take care. Ciao.